What is up, sus shogunate? It is Duvnan again, and I'm bringing another theory this week. So this theory is going to be a One Piece theory, so right off the bat, if you're a One Piece fan, like this video, subscribe right now. Because daddy's giving you attention, okay? And that's more than I can say for my dad, so. Okay, so the backstory of this theory. Now, this was actually one of the first theories, if not the first theory I ever thought up in terms of anime ever. Like, I never really theorized before I started watching One Piece videos on TikTok. Now, this theory surrounds Zoro's sword, the Wado Ichimonji, which is the one he's had since the beginning, the one that his master gave him, the one that Kuina had. We'll see how this video comes out, because honestly, this theory is really a lot of theories crammed together. It's basically theoryception. So part one of this theory. Instead of dying, was Kuina absorbed by her sword? So before I get the classic comment, oh, Kuina fell down the stairs, which is a common Japanese proverb of unalive. There's literally not a single source that's not One Piece related. There is no, like, Japanese etymology dictionary source that says that, so I don't know where that came from, but to me, I don't see it. What I saw in the fight with Zoro and Kuina right before that happened was someone who was feeling that way, but after losing to Zoro, she found newfound motivation. That is what I saw. So with that being said, what do I actually think happened? I think this newfound motivation after losing to Zoro drove Kuina to a state of, like, being an Icarus-type character. Besides the Japanese proverb of, like, falling down the stairs equals unalive, something that I think symbolically could be represented by falling down the stairs is if you were to, like, try to run up them or run down them too quickly. Like, if you're just carelessly running up the stairs of, quote, power or swordsmanship, you might end up tripping and falling if you find a power that you can't control. Now, this is where the Wado Ichimonji comes in, because a lot of people weren't paying too much attention to, like, the small details of the reveal of Kuina's death, I guess. I'm not sure if these are in the manga, but in the anime, they dive into this scenario a little bit more. But when Kuina's father and Zoro's master is giving him the Wado Ichimonji to pass on to him, essentially, after Kuina dies, he states that he's passing on both her spirit and her will. And we know now, at least, that will has a double meaning in the One Piece verse. However, I would go as far as to say that spirit also has a double meaning in the One Piece verse at this point because of the events of chapter 1044. So there will be spoilers for the most recent One Piece chapter coming up here. So thanks for watching if you're here. Basically, in chapter 1043 or 1044, we see Kaido just absolutely smack Luffy. And then Luffy's, quote, voice leaves his body. So putting all these pieces together, I feel like the Wado Ichimonji could have an ability related to the soul or the voice rather than, like, the will. And I have evidence for that claim as well, so let's get into that. So during Zoro's very first, like, major fight against Daz Bones, or Mr. One, I think, he has a flashback to his days at the dojo with Kuina, and he sees a lesson from his sensei, where his sensei says that there are swordsmen on this earth that can cut, quote, nothing. Right after this is when Zoro cuts a man whose body is steel, with a one-sword style attack, specifically using the Wado Ichimonji. But those two phrases don't actually align with each other, in my opinion, because Daz Bones is not nothing. He's actually an extremely hard dude. Like, there's literally a moment where he blocks a hit from Mihawk to stop it from hitting Luffy. And in that moment, you don't see any scars from the fight with Zoro. So how did Zoro actually cut Daz Bones? I think he could have potentially, you know, for a second, awakened the latent ability of Wado Ichimonji and maybe gave him a little scrape on his soul. Now, how would this ability affect Kuina and cause her death? Well, essentially, I think the ability will be some kind of double-edged sword where, like, unless you're the most skilled swordsman ever, you're going to die. First off, why do I think this? Well, one reason is this sword is technically the pair sword of Enma. Both swords were made by the same swordsmith, Shimotsuki Kozaburo. The response I get to this usually is that Enma's pair sword is the Ame no Habakiri, which was wielded by Odin, but that was actually made by a different swordsmith, despite them looking almost exactly the same with different colors. And if you pay really close attention, the Shimotsuki Dojo logo is a pair of swords. So that has to be Enma and Wado Ichimonji, in my opinion. And although he himself states that that Enma was his masterpiece, I think that could potentially be because that one became a black blade, while Wado Ichimonji hasn't yet. Alright, now that I've sort of justified the basis of the theory, I'm just going to be kind of mixing a bunch of evidence together because I didn't really know how to organize all these little evidentiary pieces of my theory. First off, if we compare it to Enma, so Enma is the god of the underworld in mythology, and recently in the manga, Zoro had to actually face, like, the Grim Reaper and death as a result of something. I'm not actually, fully into the manga, but I know that he had to face death. Given that Enma is the god of death, if we then take that sort of interaction and apply it to Wado Ichimonji, Wado Ichimonji means the straight shot to the path of heaven. So could we potentially in the future either see, Zoro meet up with Kuina's spirit again and have some sort of inner monologue or something maybe near the end of the series, or maybe he has to face God. Another thing is, if we were to squeeze Tashigi in, even though I think Oda said that she is a completely different person, maybe he was being Oda and, it will justify it in the future with some kind of, oh, well, it is a different person. You know what I mean? If only Kuina's spirit or soul or whatever was absorbed by Wado Ichimonji, it's possible that her body could have been overtaken by maybe a free shadow like Moria's fruit, or a free soul, or something along the lines, maybe a wandering ghost. And this way, Tashigi would be both Kuina and not Kuina at the same time. In addition to this, every time Zoro does something that seems like Conqueror's Haki related, or like how do you do that with a sword, just overall doesn't make sense completely, he's always holding the Wado Ichimonji in those moments. Always. Now I'm going to address something that I think people might try to attack in this theory, which is, how did Kuina, a young child who is, potentially not even that skilled of a swordsman, activate what is a 21 O-Wazamono ability sword? Well, given that in the manga it's been confirmed that Shimotsuki Kozaburo was actually alive and living in the village while both Kuina and Zoro were still alive, I think it's likely that he probably taught Kuina a lot of the techniques just early on to pass down the Shimotsuki knowledge. Especially considering she eventually would be the owner of Wado Ichimonji and the leader of the dojo once her father died. So given that the voice of Wado Ichimonji would most likely be activated by some sort of Haki ability or some sort of, voice-related ability, I don't know, the breath of all things, she either intentionally or unintentionally used one of those techniques and ended up getting, sucked into the sword because it's way too powerful for a small child. Now, earlier I mentioned that this ability would most likely be a double-edged sword because I believe the ability would be so overpowered that it would essentially just be a one-shot kill move like the classic, samurai slash where they go through the guy and then he explodes 5 seconds later. So given the latent power that I think this ability would have, I would think it would be sort of like a Soul Chain Deathmatch type ability where Zoro would actually have to put his own soul on the line to do the attack. And in that way, you'd have to kind of be, confident in your soul being stronger than your opponent's, because whoever's soul is stronger would win that duel. I think this would be the perfect way to end Zoro's, greatest swordsman arc if in the final arc, or in the final fight against Mihawk, he ends up cutting him with this ability, and it proves that his soul itself is stronger than Mihawk, and therefore he truly is the strongest swordsman. Your boy will solo Mihawk in strength, will, comedy, getting lost, power, name it, bruh. Okay, that's pretty much as much information that I can think of about this theory right now. I don't know. I hope somebody can come in with new ideas and stuff and we can build on this theory because I really think there's something here. I don't know if I'm exactly correct on all the details, but I do think that there is something here, and I don't think Kuina unalived because I never saw that in the show from what I was watching. And when I looked up the falling down the stairs thing, I really couldn't find anything. So I'm offering up this alternate theory because I think it, I don't think she unalived. Please like this video. Please subscribe. I'm doing a giveaway of Soul Eater Volume 4. If you leave a comment in this video and the last video I posted, which is the anime recommendation one, that'll be 2 entries. Every video I post from now on until I end the giveaway, just post a comment, and that's an extra entry. The person who won last time did this 3 times, so he definitely got an advantage from that. So go ahead and boost my clout, please. Love you, suspect individuals. I'm going to go ahead and keep talking my little sussy boy mouth off until this video reaches 10 minutes because that's the goal, baby. Got to get that clout. Got to get that gains. Oh, I have a Patreon. I'm trying not to plug it too hard because I don't want to beg you guys for money. It's like $3 a month. If you have it, I'd love it. Just because I've never made money off of this ever. I just do it for fun, but like, it's not really sustainable. I am working a job right now, but I'd love to sort of start, monetizing this, so that I can focus on it more because I enjoy it a lot. So, love you guys. It's in the description. Goodbye.